Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. My name is Smitty. You're watching the Week 11 recap show, which I do every week. I do a recap show every week here on the Mayo Media Network. Pat Mayo has granted me authority to talk to you for 8 to 12 minutes every Sunday, so buckle up every Sunday if you want to get more of this. Subscribe. If you want to get more Pat Mayo, subscribe. And you can always find me at my show at smitty1.com or at thefantasyfootballshow.com. Both go to my YouTube channel.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Breaking news. The MRI results have come in for Joe Burrow, confirming a torn ACL. We knew he was out for the year already. He tweeted out almost immediately, "See you next year. Tough break. We wish you well, Joe Burrow, and you're going to be a stud in the NFL for years to come." But we're going to have a little bit of a delay and a comeback story heading into 2021. Let's break down more of the players in the news for week 11. We've got Taysom Hill as a savior for many fantasy football owners who picked him up in ESPN leagues. Talked about it all week. If you start him at tight end and he's playing quarterback, guess what? You're going to get 233 yards, 51 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. And he single-handedly won people weeks in week 11. We knew he would either single-handedly lose you the week or single-handedly win you the week. We didn't know if you'd get Sean Payton'd, where you would think you're going to get this guy, ultra-productive guy, and everybody's starting him over every other tight end besides Kelsey and on ESPN formats, and then he drop an egg because you get Sean Payton. Sean Payton didn't Sean Payton you. He Sean Payton to every other fantasy owner in your league if you're a Taysom Hill owner, because you got all that production from your tight end spot. And go forward, he could literally change the dynamic for people that have been losing that own him in fantasy football ESPN league. So congrats if you own Taysom Hill, and get ready for more. And guess who responded to Taysom Hill in week 11? We thought maybe we could see a downtick for Mike Thomas. We could see an uptick. The God's honest truth is nobody knew, because we didn't have any sample size or any experience to go off of. We now know that Taysom Hill knows how to dial up Mike Thomas. 9 for 12, 104 yards. Pretty good day for MT. I think he's probably back in the top 5 conversation going forward for wide receivers. So dial back your hate on MT. And we did a mock draft last night on Smitty 1, and MT didn't even crack the top 12 go forward. And we did a dynasty mock draft, and he barely was in the top 10. It's weird how people have had really weird reactions to MT coming back. People are really mad at him. I don't think they're going to be mad at him anymore. I think he reclaimed his top 10 overall dynasty value immediately with that effort, and probably redraft. He's going to be in your top 3 or 4 wide receivers again, and rightfully so. He should have never left. Lamar Jackson struggled again, and we got to ask ourselves, will he rebound with a potentially good schedule going forward? 186 yards, 1 touchdown, interception in the Ravens' Week 11 overtime loss to the Titans, adding 51 yards rushing. The bottom line is he's still got a boatload of upside. He has an equal boatload amount of risk, and you got to roll with him if you've got him, unless you've got 2 options like A-Rod and Lamar, or Brady and Lamar. Then you have yourself a dilemma where you're probably putting Lamar on the bench until he proves himself, and he may not. And Hollywood Brown was not targeted in the game, which is so disappointing, and it's frustrating because Hollywood Brown, it's not his fault. He has so much talent, he could be a top 12 to 15 wide receiver in the NFL, but he needs to get the ball thrown to him, and that's not his fault. I don't know that that's going to turn around, and I certainly don't know if this is going to turn around, but I think Lamar is worth starting unless you have a really good option, and I think that there's a 50-50 shot he bounces back in a way that's substantial, like he's top 5 going forward, but there's a 50% chance he bombs, gets hurt, whatever. I mean, that's how these things go. Bomb, then a player ends up getting hurt and just puts a nail in the coffin for you. J.K. Dobbins, why don't they feed him 15 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown? This is what happens when you feed J.K. Dobbins. He produces. Please keep giving him the football. He's a top 10 running back if he's getting 15 to 20 carries a game. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Walking into week 12, what do we do with week 12 on? what do we do with J.K. Dobbins? We'll have to debate that in the comments, so comment below. Miles Sanders, 16 rushes, 66 yards, not a big game for him. Look, he was a big avoid for me for a number of reasons. Number one, I didn't think he'd hold up until he proved it to me. His size, his style, he's had trouble staying healthy, and you could throw injury out the window and boil it down to the Eagles coaching staff never rolling with one running back. That's very common for the Eagles coaching staff, proven by their love for Boston Scott and how they would probably distribute the ball all season long. We're seeing evidence that Miles Sanders is way overvalued. I liked going and getting him on the cheap at value I felt he was deserving of on draft day, which was buy low value weeks ago, but I didn't like him as a guy you draft in the second round. Nick Chubb doing Nick Chubb things in week 11, 20 totes for 114, but the touchdowns, the opportunities for TDs went to this man right here, Kareem Hunt, who rushed the ball 13 times for only 11 yards, but salvaged his day with a score. I don't know what to think moving forward. I think both running backs can coexist, but you need to know this. Chubb will be the every down back or the 15 carry guy. Kareem Hunt can get that same volume. He could get even more, but he has the risk of getting 10 carries, 11 carries, 12 carries, not much work in the receiving game, or he could get a little bit of work in the receiving game and not many rushes. And he's an ultra efficient player. If he's not ultra efficient, getting the touchdowns, ripping off that 40-yard run, then you will have games where he does okay, not great. Today is an example of that, but he still will deliver running back one numbers every other week or two out of the next 3 weeks. Who knows? We don't really, it's a speculation thing at this point. DJ Moore caught 7 of 11 for 127. Boom! Roasted! All of you DJ Moore doubters out there, roasted, 7 of 11 for 127. I think that's pretty darn good myself. Stop asking me, should I start DJ Moore every week for some bum player? DJ Moore's a must start. You know who else is? This guy, until McCaffrey returns, which could happen in week 12. It may not. They've got a bye in week 13, the Panthers. They'd be kind of dumb to rush McCaffrey back if he wasn't 100. So much will depend on how close to 100% he is. If not, they're sitting him and putting this man in there because he does pretty well. And I like him, and he could be a savior for you like he's been all season, earning you single-handedly earning you a playoff spot. Hopefully you don't get him ripped from your kung fu grip right at week 14. Maybe McCaffrey shut down for the year. Maybe he's back in week 12. We don't know. Why would we know? What would make any of you think that 2020 was any different than it has been, or it's going to treat you any different than it has been all year long? It's going to gift you the knowledge to know what's going on with McCaffrey? I don't think so. 2020's not that kind. Derrick Henry, 28 carries for 133 and a TD. He was doing Derrick Henry things all day long. Boom, he runs his OT touchdown into the end zone and tops off his rushing yards at 133 and a score. So Derrick Henry ended up having a big day, but at the end you were wanting a little bit more. James Robinson, you wanted a little more out of him, but he still looked very good. 73 yards in this effort. He looked strong. It was a tough matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So 73 yards is actually a pretty big accomplishment. 2 catches for 21. I'm real impressed with James Robinson. And as Hansen said during the NFL Red Zone on one of his big runs, he said this guy might be sustainable. And I think that's an important comment because we don't know 100% that he's going to be this good in 2021, 2022. Guys can emerge like this and then not really be as good the next year. It's not even like a sophomore slump thing. It's like, is he the real deal? Could they draft another guy that comes in and just cloudies up the running back situation in the running back room? They could. Everyone's going to say, why would they draft a guy? They got James Robinson. Teams do things that are weird all the time. Players, especially running backs, fall really far in the NFL draft to a place where teams are crazy to pass on a big name running back. So I don't know what to make of him. I almost say if you can sell him at like near top 12, top 14 overall value and get yourself into a safer wide receiver like Hill or Adams or Mike Thomas, it might be the move to make in Dynasty. Not saying I doubt him, not saying I don't love James Robinson. Just because I say trade a guy high does not mean I don't like the player. It just means it might be time to explore what your sell high avenues might be. So take that for what it is. Marquise Brown, again, so disappointing. It's not his fault. Look how sad he looks. He's very sad. He's very upset. And I don't blame him. He worked so hard this offseason on his footwork. He's healthy. It's just depressing. Just absolutely depressing. You know what else is depressing? People that believed in this guy. That's depressing. 4 of 5 for 19 yards before exiting with a toe injury. You know, it doesn't matter. Hurt or not. We don't need to update Juju's injury status because these two guys are the new number 1A and number 1B. I don't know which one's A and which one's B, but 59 yards for Claypool and a TD, and he looks so dominant near the end zone, and Big Ben loves him. Big Ben loves Deontay. 12 of 16 targets. 16 targets! Are you kidding me? For 111. These guys are the future of this passing attack, led by Ben Roethlisberger. Who knows how long Big Ben has? Obviously, that can affect their dynasty value, but if Big Ben's returning for 2021, I don't know who to rank higher, though. These guys look phenomenal. Both of them. Claypool looks so good. The Green Bay Packers should have drafted Chase Claypool. I said it all offseason long. It would have been a dream fit for A-Rod to have this guy to throw to. That's going to do it for this Week 11 recap. I'm out of time. This is no edits. I did this all without a single edit, Pat Mayo, because I'm out of time, and I don't want you to ban me for life. It's 12 minutes and something seconds. Follow me at on YouTube at Smitty1.com. My IG is right here, and you've got everything else. But make sure you like and subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. Because Pat Mayo's got a whole bunch more for you for Week 12 coming up. Get ready and buckle up. Later.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.